Hello, everyone. We are back here on Prison Break with Shirley and Shonda, breaking down walls, mind, body, and spirit. And today we have a very special interview with none other than Miss Linda D. Bailey. She is a new author, y'all. So excited for this interview with her. It's been a long process. It's a children's book. We're going to let her introduce herself and to be able to talk about this great book that many people are going to be able to enjoy. So at this time, welcome Miss Bailey to KRGN. Welcome to the world of authorship.
It's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am. So if you could just speak up just a little bit to make sure that everybody hears you, just this is your day. So,
Okay.
so go ahead, Miss Bailey, and go ahead and just introduce yourself, and then Shonda is going to take it away as far as asking you a lot of the questions because I know she's read it in depth and is very proud of your work.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Linda Denise Bailey, and I'm from Long Island, New York. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and I was born in February on the 7th. It's a great day. What else? I lived here in Texas for about 30 years already, so I might as well call myself a Texan.
Might as well.
Might as well, right? I have a beautiful daughter named Portia, and my son Michael. He lives in Philadelphia. It's a 20-year difference between them both. Don't ask. But let's see, what else should I say about myself? There's so much. Oh, I like spaghetti. You know, my favorite food is spaghetti.
Yes,
and my favorite
color.
my favorite color is yellow and orange. I work at the Timber Ridge Elementary School right now. I used to work at the library downtown Kunleen as a children's librarian assistant. So my whole world is about reading and children's books.
Wonderful. So that brings me to you writing your first book called The Rains Ballet. So Shonda, go ahead and ask her some questions.
So, Ms. Linda, if you could just start off by telling us a little bit about your inspiration for the Rains Ballet, how you got the idea for the story.
Well, I was in the 3rd grade, to tell you the truth. I was in the 3rd grade, and my teacher was named Mrs. Bennett, and she asked us to write a little letter, not a letter, but a story, an imaginary story, and I chose to choose about a lonely tulip. And I didn't think much of it at the time, but I wrote about it, and then she read it in front of the whole class, and she really liked it. So that was my first start of being inspired to write and to read. So
wow.
3rd grade, yeah.
That's awesome.
That is really awesome. You also worked with children and you were a librarian's assistant for many years. So did those things contribute to you wanting to have your own published book?
The thing with me is that I've always worked with children. That's all I know how to do. I tried the secretarial field, I tried to do the clerical field, but that's not my calling. I've always worked with children, and I've always wanted to play school, not house. So I always wrote, I always read. So yeah, I've been inspired all my life, it seems like. I just didn't know I wanted to write a book until maybe 8 years ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what happened 8 years ago that made you say, you know what, I need to really get this out on paper?
When I was working at the Killeen Public Library, reading everybody else's books, I was like, I sure would like to have my book shelved in this children's library. So
that's when the Rains Ballet was composed.
Well, the Rains Ballet, the title came to me a very long time ago, only because of how the story goes. It was ballerinas being personified in the rain, and I always called it the Rains Ballet. That was always the title of, but I never knew it was going to be a book. It was just my imagination.
Wow. Wow.
So how did you get from imagination to book? Then did someone say to you, hey, you know what, you should really write this out?
Well, going to the Christian House of Prayer and with my former pastor who passed away, Bishop Holcomb, there was one time when he says, if you need to write a book, write a book. And certain words in a message will come to you, and that was for me.
Definitely.
Write a book. So the only book I had in my heart. So
Okay, so without giving out too much information, because we want everyone to go and to purchase a copy of your book, and it's been difficult for me too, even Miss Bailey, trying to hold it all together without giving away too much because I absolutely love the story. Can you tell us, everybody who's listening, just a little bit about something they should know getting ready to read The Rains Ballet?
um, the Rains Ballet, the little bit that I want to share is that the characters and everyone are it's my family, my sisters and my brothers, my dog, my grandma, my grandpa, my mom. So they're no strangers. They're all real people.
That's awesome.
Okay, so you took your life and you made it into a small part of it, and you let us into your world, and you shared with us this little small piece that you put into a children's book format. Is there something amazing that you want people to discover in reading about the main? Can I tell them the main character's name?
Sure.
Sure. In reading about Primrose, is there something amazing that you would like for us to discover as we take this journey towards the Rains Ballet?
Well, I would, as children would read my book, I just want them to be inspired to keep their imagination alive and to write. Just write or record or however we are able to do it in 2020. So, but keep the imagination alive, because that's just about what we have right now is our imagination besides our prayers. So I just want them to come away with keeping the imagination alive and to just write, be inspired to write, because there's nothing like it.
Yeah. So, what do you say to those children who say, "Oh, I don't want to write anything. I don't need to write." Plenty of people have already written anything that I would want to write anyway. So, to all of our children who are getting used to technology and getting away from writing, what would you say to them to inspire them to come back?
Well, then to draw, become an illustrator, because we need illustrators. So if they know how to draw, or if they inspired to draw, or even to record, our children know how to do nothing but the technology. I don't even know how to turn on some of the things that we're getting ready to work with in school. So if they know how to just record your stories. You don't have to write, record it.
Okay, so there's power then in telling these stories, different stories and different imaginations and different emotions coming out of each person. Yeah. And so you discovered that early on. Is it because of you and your siblings and the way that you guys grew up that you learned about imagination early?
I did, yes, because where we lived, all I had was my sisters and brothers to play with. So we had to be imaginative.
So you used to create games and things like that to play with your siblings and come up with different stories.
Yes.
Yeah. And so how do you think that changed you as a person? So, because I want everybody to get the understanding of why you feel like imagination is so important. I think it is too. I want to drive home that point by demonstrating to them what they can gain from using their imagination and putting their stories out there and telling their own stories.
It keeps me young. It keeps me young. It's like that little girl, Primrose, she's always right here for me. Always.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. Shirley, did you have anything you wanted to ask Miss Linda or share with Miss Linda before we continue on?
Yes. What would you tell an older adult who maybe has had a dream of writing, or maybe they were afraid, but they have so much in them because we know that y'all have much more wisdom than we have. Not dying with it is so important. And so what would you tell the older person who maybe has had that dream of pursuing not just book writing, but any of their dreams? What would you tell them?
I started out journaling.
Go ahead and talk to them.
I started out journaling. I have journals, notebooks, just writing down thoughts, how I felt today and how I didn't feel today, what things that I wanted to do and things I didn't do. So I just journaled. I started out journaling, and I like to write, handwriting. And I do know how to type, but I rather use a pen. So it got my thoughts down on paper.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We remember first meeting you back in I think it was March or April.
April. Mhm.
Had this handwritten manuscript, everyone, and she handed it over with no fear. And Shonda typed out that manuscript. So whatever way that you get it out, just get it out. That's the point. It's just to get out. There's somebody out there that can help you put it in the way that it needs to go for the world to be able to see your awesome gift. So yeah, that's amazing. So
thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So you wrote this book. I know that we kind of discovered that it was kind of for the preteen, right? Maybe that 10, 12-year-old, 13-year-old that can have a little bit more attention, but it touched Shonda. I won't say it touched Shonda in a very special way. She talks about this book all the time.
Oh, thank you so much. I started it out as a children's book. At least that's what I thought it would have been. With my first draft, I thought maybe, maybe a first grader who's just learning how to write. But then when I spoke to another author, he was like, well, how about your characters? How about your creativity? And how about chapters? I was like, oh my. And that's how it ended up being 15 chapters, 14 chapters. So I had to work on my creativity and work on my characters. And that's how I got my family involved.
That's good. So allowing your imagination to grow.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing that I love about reading your story is that it seems like it's timeless. Like you never know what year it could be written in or to what age group or whatever the person is talking to, or even if she's older or younger. It's just the retelling or recounting of the story is a story that can be related to from any generation, from any age group. And I think that that's one thing about your story that really kind of struck me is that it didn't matter. Like my mom could have been writing it or one of my kids could have been writing it. That's how relatable that story was to everyone else. And I think that's what I loved about it the most.
That's a nice compliment. Thank you.
Yes, so everyone, we want you to know like kind of the time frame that you can go get her book. If you saw the flyer on today, you'll know that her book is coming out soon. It will be available on Amazon as a print book and an ebook version. So look for that probably in about the next 2 weeks or so. You'll be able to check out that ebook, and then you can put in some pre-orders too for her print book, not just for your household, but even if you don't have children. Get something and gift it to somebody else. School is about to start again. We want them to be using their brains to soar on. So you can contact Miss Linda by email right now, and so I'm sure we'll be getting some other things together so she can interact with people a little bit more. We'll help you out with that, Miss Linda. But Linda, D as in Delta, Bailey 56@gmail.com is her email that you can contact her at. If you see it, it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now. But it's been a pleasure working with you and just having your beautiful spirit to be around us. And so I'm just so grateful that you have chosen SOE Publishing to be able to work with your children.
That's how I feel about you all. You all have beautiful spirits too. It's nice to meet you all. It's nice to work with you. And I'm so appreciative. I am.
Amen. Thank you so much. And we met by your daughter.
Yes.
Who is an awesome person. Met her getting our makeup done. And so, yeah, that's been a real great connection. So we never know who we're going to meet and who we're going to meet them through. So just keeping our lines of communication open to be able to meet the great people in the world, such as Miss Linda D. Bailey. So it's been a pleasure talking with you on today. And as soon as we get these links for your ebook and your regular book, we're going to shoot this out to the world because the world needs to see your writing.
We'll give God the glory.
Amen. Absolutely. So everyone, you have been listening to Prison Break with Shirley and Shonda with special guest, Miss Linda D. Bailey, talking about her book, The Reigns Ballet. Make sure you stay tuned so that you can get your copy and share it with a friend. All right, y'all be blessed.
Thank you.